Well, hello and welcome to the Alison McWhinnie podcast, where we have conversations for business and wellbeing success. And for this podcast episode, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to Daniel Lewis. Daniel is an expert in the field of clinical negligence and personal injury recruitment. And he's managed the niche legal team at Longbridge Law and then ran Daniel Lewis Law. Daniel Lewis has substantial experience of management, team accounting, recruitment and marketing PR. His interest in healing methodology combined with his legal recruitment experience makes for a fairly unusual approach to management and his role. Daniel runs courses on how to recruit the best and then retain them. In today's podcast, we will be talking about general recruitment. Daniel, a warm welcome.
Thank you.
I'd like to start off by seeking your guidance on the right mindset and preparation for a successful job search.
Ooh, well, it's all about the why, isn't it, Alison?
It so is.
So, effectively, you've got to know, first of all, why you are looking for a job. I think if you just go put your CV somewhere, send it because you're feeling a bit fed up that day, it's not a good enough reason, effectively. So I think you've got to think, okay, why am I looking? Am I looking because A, I'm not getting enough money? B, I'm not getting the promotion I think I should be getting. C, the firm isn't inclusive, so I don't know what's going on, and all the employees are kept in the dark, and I'm fed up of this. It can also be I don't like my boss. It can be not feeling wanted or respected, not being liked by your colleagues or not liking your colleagues. So once you've ascertained why you're looking, you then actually, this is where the mental healing bit comes in, I think. You've got to think about, okay, how serious is this? Is it a problem? So looking further ahead, when you're offered a new job and you go to your boss to say, I'm sorry, I'm off, and I've been offered a new job, and they make you a counter offer of more money or promise a promotion, you then don't think, oh, maybe I did want that after all. And then you've wasted your time, you've wasted the prospective employer's time, you've wasted a recruiter's time if you're using a recruiter, and you feel a bit of a nana. And quite frankly, that's why I think you've got to sit down and really look at the reasons for your move.
Sure. And then I suppose once you've done that and you've decided, yes, I do want to move, it's about finding what kind of niche you want as well, isn't it?
Well, it's about finding, once you've decided why you want to move, making sure that you can actually achieve that. I know a lot of people, a lot of firms at interviews give empty promises to try and get people on board, especially in this time when it's difficult to find skilled labor. And so I think you've actually got to believe what they're saying and make sure that you feel that they are being genuine and that they really want you, not just your skills. It's all very well to say, oh, he's got a first degree and he's got X years experience or this and that. We need somebody like that. Great, let's get him. That's not about you. That's about how you can make them money. And yes, to me, that's not a good enough reason.
It's always important to think about your own career as well, isn't it? As part of the
it's your own career and your own happiness. You spend the majority of your life when you're awake at work.
Yeah.
And if you are not happy, well, you're not happy in yourself. And that's the time when people maybe drink too much to get over it, or in the case of the professional city, cocaine is heavily used. And that's, there's a reason for that.
So once people have defined their niche, I suppose research comes into play. What are your tips on good research?
Good research. First of all, if you're going for an interview, it's absolutely crucial you know about the firm you're going to.
Yeah.
So obviously, look at the website, look at what they do. If there's a biography of a person who's interviewing you, look up the biography, see if you've got anything in common. So you might both be, I don't know, Reading United football fans, or you both might love dogs, or see if there's a common ground there with which to establish the the interview. Make sure you know that you've got answers to all potential questions, like, okay, what is your salary and what are you looking for? That's always a difficult one because you can either underprice yourself or overprice yourself. So you want to be careful with that one. And my answer to that particular one is, well, what were you thinking of for this position?
Mm.
Put it on to them. So in terms of preparation, think about salary expectations, think about why you want to leave your present firm. Never, ever do your present firm down.
Mm.
Really important. However much you might hate it for whatever reasons, don't say, well, it's absolutely horrible firm and everyone's horrible or the boss is horrible or it's unethical or whatever. Think of a way around that.
Yeah. Yeah.
What other research? Find out if anybody else you know works there or has worked there.
Mm.
Be careful with that one, though. Remember, horses for courses, and not everybody likes the same work environment.
Sure.
Write things down. I'm a great believer in writing things down. Write questions down that you have to answer, because you will or ask, because you'll always get that question. Have you anything else to ask? And you think, oh God, no. Make sure you have something.
Absolutely. It shows you're not prepared if you don't. In actual fact, it looks bad. If you
or you can make a joke of it, and say, actually, I've got several things on my list and you've gone and covered them all. You could always do that.
Yeah. I think your own career goals are important, aren't they? Your long-term career goals.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
whether this new role will fit in with those goals.
It's quite difficult to judge that because, of course, the firm wants you. So they're going to say, yes, of course, we will make you an associate or make you a partner or whatever, however the hierarchy is. So it's worth looking again into your research at what kind of level the senior people are. So if they've been with the firm 20, 30 years, it's going to be difficult for you to muster in. But if there's quite a few young-ish people who are looking as if they're advancing through the firm, that's always a good sign.
Mm.
But I think to a certain extent, Alison, you've got to go by gut. And I'm a great believer in gut because gut is normally right.
Yes. I suppose as well, in this day and age, location is important, isn't it?
Location is important. However, up until very recently, people are quite happy to work at home and firms are happy to have you working at home. And of course, during the COVID thing, everybody got used to working from home, or at least being hybrid. Now it seems that firms are beginning to want people in again more. So the fact that you live in Guildford and your firm is based in Manchester can become an issue. So are you prepared to move for the right job, basically? Or again, in the research, see if they offer hybrid working, see how they operate. It's one of your questions to them.
Yeah.
And obviously, if they say, well, actually, we need people in the office 5 days a week. Well, it's up to you. You're going to have to move if the job's right. And if a job is right and you're prepared to move, will they pay a relocation allowance?
All factors to take into consideration.
Absolutely.
Where somebody is not successful in a role, the recruiter can be really helpful here, can't they, in giving feedback to help them in the next role that they apply for?
It's in everybody's interest. It's in the recruiter's interest because they want to make money out of you.
Mm-hmm.
It's in your interest. For instance, politics. Stay off it. Really important. I think, yes, recruiters, a good recruiter will get feedback from a firm, proper feedback, not just we've decided not to take it further. It's the old question, why? Is it because you weren't smart enough? If that's the case, smarten yourself up for interview. Is it because you talked too much because you were nervous? Okay, make a mental note of that and be careful about that. Is it because you smell? Well, have a bath. Is it actually you laugh? That happened once to one of my candidates.
Oh no.
Who it turned out was very hard up and was washing a shirt every night to wear the next day. Anyway, and they said we just couldn't stand it. We had to get rid of him. So, I mean, that's extreme. But yeah, it's really important. And even if a recruiter says, I really don't know, they didn't say anything, well, please, can you find out?
Yeah. Yeah. I think also that where you're going through a professional recruiter, it's important to keep an open mind because they are in touch with a whole range of vacancies, not all of which are advertised, are they? So they can be quite helpful.
That's very true. I would say half the vacancies aren't advertised, and a lot of the vacancies don't exist in the first place, i.e., I would say to a client, oh, Mr. A is looking for a job. Would you be interested? Wow, yes, we've been trying to get him for ages. Now, that wasn't a job that they were planning on having. And I think that'll happen less because of the whole hike in employers' national insurance. But if people want somebody enough and they have been trying to get them for years, say, that's where an unadvertised vacancy is. Or, wow, we don't see many people with CV like this. We really ought to take them on while we can. But there's a word of warning in that one. Don't let a recruiter just mail you around to everybody. It's a real mistake. Always make a list of where you have been sent, what's the company's name, where you've been sent to.
Yeah.
Keep a list yourself. Otherwise, you're an idiot or you look an idiot because the HR person or whoever will have had your CV from 15 different agencies. And my recommendation is 3 agencies maximum. Make sure you trust them.
Yeah. And as my experience, my background does include being in HR, and I've had that experience where I've had the same CV from quite a number of different recruiters. And we would sort of go with the first recruiter who submitted the CV to us and then explain to the other recruiters why we weren't going with them for this particular application. And it just it just creates bad feeling, doesn't it? If you've got multiple applications coming in from different recruiters. I suppose quite a key thing for candidates really is to be proactive in working with their recruiter.
Yes, get to know your recruiter.
Yeah.
The more the recruiter likes you, the more they'll try for you. It's as simple as that. It's human nature.
Yeah. And to be open to the roles that might be available, not just waiting for the perfect one to come along.
Yeah, and the other thing is you tell the recruiter that I'm just not sure that role's for me. Let me tell you why I don't think that role's for you.
Yeah.
And then see what he or she's got to say about it. And then it's possible your mind could be changed. So having thought that you'd never ever want to work for X firm, listen to the recruiter, and as long as it's not a sales spiel, but it's more of a, okay, let me tell you, I think this partner, you know, or in the case of one of my clients was the London office was horrid, but the Birmingham office was fantastic.
Mm.
So whatever you've heard about the London office, forget it. You're not going to be there.
Yeah.
So, the recruiters hopefully know their stuff.
Sure. Moving on now to CVs and actual applications. I'd like to go through your tips on these for applicants to be successful. So starting off with the CV, should it be tailored or should it be one CV for all?
I think tailored, of course. I'm a great believer that of interests should be put on CV, just to see what kind of person you are. I know that on mine, I used to put flying in Africa, and that confused everybody, as you can imagine. But anyway, I'm not a great fan of potted biographies at the top of CVs. I'm a versatile, able, friendly, open-minded person. Well, anyone can put that. So I would keep a CV straight. And what you have to remember, the person reading the CV was quite often reading hundreds of them. And they will be looking at salient things. They'll be looking at your name, where you are, what your academics were, maybe, what the name of your current firm is, what you do. And that's really all they're looking for.
Yeah.
Bullet point, I'm not against bullet points. I think in a way it helps to read CVs. Never more than 2 pages if you can. 3 pages just, but certainly no more. Make it clear, open, typeface. Covering letter, fine, but tailor your covering letter to the role that you're going for. And if necessary, in today's world of computers, you can tailor your CV as well.
Yeah.
So if it's management rather than doing, tailor your CV to your management experience rather than your practical experience.
Sure.
It should be a record of your personality as well. I think people who are very verbose on CVs tend to be very verbose in person. And short, salient, to the point, interesting.
Yeah. Again, going back to my experience in HR, when I was recruiting, I would see my job advert and job description as one half of a jigsaw. And what I was looking for in applications was somebody who was applying who could fit the other half as near perfectly as possible. And so could meet the requirements that I was looking for, and made it clear by their tailoring that they were a fit.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that sort of person always got shortlisted. I suppose
the word.
Yeah. I suppose also it's important to make sure that you are legally able to work in the UK.
Oh, absolutely.
You've got all the documentation that you need to prove that. These days, what sort of documentation is required?
Passport.
Yep.
Actually, I mean, in terms of law firms, they're remarkably lax about this kind of thing. It's a bit like cobbler and his shoes, but passport definitely. If the job involves driving, obviously a driving license. The other thing is if you're going to professions like law or accountancy, do make sure that you're being honest about not having any strikes on your record. And if you do, come clean immediately about it.
Yeah.
But apart from that, nothing really.
No, I think it's always important not to lie.
Absolutely, because you will be found
You
out.
will be found out. You will. And also sort of going into the prep for applying, I think it's always useful rather than just commenting on what you've done in roles, is to, where possible, showcase the results you've achieved. So, for example, if you've managed to achieve an increase in sales by 35%, that is the kind of statistic as an HR person I'd have been interested in.
I think there are two thoughts there. Yes, I agree with you. However, there's also, you could leave something up your sleeve for the interview.
Okay.
So I always ask somebody at interview, okay, what's your proudest moment work-wise? You know, what's the best thing you've ever done? So it's always quite nice to have something up your sleeve for that. And if you're not asked, well, tell them.
Mm. That is a really good tip for keeping your CV shorter as well, because having been in the job market for a wee while, my CV is actually quite long, and always needs cutting. So that's an excellent tip to help keep the CV shorter as well.
Good.
I think it's also important for your CV to remain updated as well, isn't it?
Oh, yes, it can get outdated. And the other thing a lot of people do, they update their CV, but forget to update the past bits.
Yeah.
So forget to do the dates, or rather than my role was, my role is, you know, make sure you get the tenses right
Yep.
when you're updating.
And explain any gaps or moves.
Yes, and for goodness sake, don't make any spelling mistakes.
Yep.
Spell liaise right.
Yep.
Nobody does. Extraordinary. Anyway.
I suppose also in terms of referees, ask for their permission before giving their names.
Oh, absolutely. Hugely important.
Yeah, yeah. And what are your top tips on working with recruiters and interview success?
I think number one, get them to like you.
Yeah.
Number two, make sure they're on your side so you feel they're actually going to work hard for you. Because what you've got to remember is that you aren't being charged anything. It's a free service, effectively.
Mm.
So you've got to you know, gain a rapport. And I think all the people over the years that I've interviewed, I'm actually have become friends with an awful lot of them because we've gained a rapport. I followed their careers. You know, I might have placed them 3 or 4 times in the last 30 years. So, you know, it's all about coming back.
Yeah.
Will they come back to and they need to go, you come again, you know. So repetitive business, if you like. But choose your recruiter carefully, I would say. As I said, don't go to many, just go to 3.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you keep a list of everywhere your CV is going to be sent to. Don't allow them to splash your CV all over the place because that'll happen, you know, everybody getting lots of CVs. And make it an enjoyable thing rather than anything else. Recruiters are able to tell you, recruiters know what a firm is really like because they might have had people from that firm applying to them. And if it's clearly there is an ethical problem or a management problem or something, although the recruiter won't necessarily pass that on, if you get on with them, they're not going to recommend you go there.
Mm.
So in a funny sort of way, recruiters have quite a powerful role to play.
Sure. Some recruiters as well offer the chance to do dummy interviews with them as well.
Yeah, I do that a lot.
Which I think would be very useful because you know where the firm is coming from, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it is useful, and it doesn't matter what particular firm is. An interview is an interview.
Once you've had the interview, what are your top tips? Because it doesn't just end there, does it?
No, it doesn't end there. If you feel the interview went well, make sure you tell the recruiter, because they need to give feedback to the client. I think it depends how well you got on with the client. Some people like just to send an email to the client saying, "Thank you very much for meeting me. I look forward to hearing via my recruiter how I went. I really enjoyed it. Da-da." No harm in that,
No.
as long as you don't do it. It's short, sharp, not going to waste anybody's time. Make sure you get proper feedback, which will be helpful, as we said before.
Yeah. I always appreciated a follow-up note. I felt that showed interest.
Yeah, I think it does. And it also keeps you in their mind.
Yeah.
Because if they've seen 5 people in one day, they can remember the most memorable and the least memorable, but they're not going to remember the ones in between.
No. And I think also I would say from my perspective, when I was interviewing for roles to fill them, don't worry if you're coming across a bit nervous.
I would agree with that. I think people expect interviewees to be a bit nervous.
Yeah.
And you could always say, "Look, I'm awfully sorry. I don't know why, but I'm a little bit nervous about this."
Sure.
I think it's because I want it.
Exactly. So when I was sitting the other side of the desk, I always felt that somebody who was really, really nervous really, really wanted that role, and it was really important to them. And where I recruited people who were nervous in the interview, invariably they turned out to be brilliant employees.
Yeah.
Because
I would agree with that.
So
and quite often I have feedback from candidates who say, "Oh God, I really blew it because I was so nervous." Next thing you know, they've got an offer.
Yeah. Yeah. This has been incredibly helpful. Thank you, Daniel.
Good. Well, thank you for having me.
You're most welcome. You can come on this podcast again.
Lovely.
Is there anything in closing that you'd like to say to people?
Yeah, I think the one thing I would say, it can be very stressful, this changing a job process. And so it's important to breathe deeply, take a deep breath, make sure you know what you're doing, and just try and enjoy it. It should be a thing of interest. Going to see firms is always interesting to see new people, how things work. So put it as an experience rather than a chore.
And maybe an adventure.
And an adventure, hopefully, which you'll carry on going on.
And on that note, Daniel, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Alison.